Welcome to the Buried Talent, the show for young professionals that tears down false beliefs about faith and work so you can unbury your God-given talent right where you are. I'm Ken Freire and here with my co-host Patrick Lowndes, and today we're talking about the challenge of landing your first job in 2025. And Patrick, this is a really big challenge for a lot of people graduating today.
Oh yeah, it's monumental. I've been in college classes the last couple of weeks, and when I look at seniors, like the graduating seniors, they're just like, some of them are like deer in the headlights. They're like, don't talk about that 3-letter word job. It's just scary, you know?
Yeah. Well, what's causing the fear for them to actually find a job?
I think there's a lot of macroeconomic issues going on, and I want to start it off today just hitting on a few kind of rapid fire facts, right? It's always good to start with where we at, right? And ever since COVID, things have gotten more difficult. We were at about 3.2% for like the unemployment rate for people graduating with college degrees, like 3.2%. Okay, so fast forward post-COVID, now we've gotten 5-6 years past. And some are still saying we're almost 5%. One study I found actually said 5.8% as of March this year, 2025. So unemployment for college grads is certainly like the worst that it's been in years, right? Some people say like more than a decade. And so it is just the thing that hits for me, Ken, is like if I'm entering the job market, I'm now thinking about, man, how am I going to compete in a market sometimes with people that were like 5 or 7 years into a job and got laid off? Now they're trying to go after the same job that I'm trying to go after. It's difficult, right? So those are some of the things. And the last thing that kind of stood out to me was some of you guys have been on like the handshake platforms or Indeed and stuff like that. And, new jobs like internship postings, like the number of those have significantly dropped in 2025 compared to previous years. Right. And so obviously that just means there's this thing called contraction happening in the job market. Companies are not hiring as much and as fast as they used to. So it's just a difficult world. And so what we want to do is talk about today is like, what does that mean for us as young professionals coming out of school, or even we just graduated and like we're 2, 3, 4 months out and still like on the hunt for that first gig. So there's some stuff to get after today, Ken.
Yeah, and that is a lot. And I know when I look at statistics, people can be like, oh my gosh, it's almost doubled. And then the places that you can normally get internships, they're not showing up. And then they're looking at their friends that just graduated maybe a year ahead of them. And they're just baristas at a coffee shop or just flipping burgers. And they're like, what in the world is going on? And the lie that they can believe is that their major, right, no matter what they were training for, like their major is not going to actually land them the perfect job right away. And they're scared. They're feeling like they're going to miss out on their calling. And that weight feels crushing to a lot of them. And it makes people feel like they've wasted 4 years of hard work and that they're off track already before they've even started. And because you're hearing this a lot for them. So let's talk about giving them some clarity on why this lie is actually a lie and that's not true.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's good. So again, if you're like a marketing major, you're like, I got to get into a marketing job. If you're a finance person, like, man, I got to get into that financial institution or that first analyst kind of role. And yeah, that makes sense to look for that. We're not saying don't look for a job in your major. That's not the message here.
Yeah.
But what we are saying is what's interesting, like consider this. Nearly half of grads end up in jobs that are unrelated to their major. Like their first job is like not related to their major. And what's crazy is some students will get into a field that they weren't really that interested in, and they'll like discover passion for it and be like, oh my goodness, I really love this industry. I really love this kind of work that's maybe different from what I studied. And so I think the reality is to expect that the thing that you might have been kind of preparing for, there might not be like low-hanging fruit to like, oh, look at all these great job opportunities for entry-level people in this role. But what it might look like, we talk about this a lot on this show and just at Frontier Operators, we might have to have this operator kind of mindset to think more broadly about the business that we're in. Like every business has an operation they're trying to run. If you're a nonprofit, if you're a big Fortune 500 company, or you're a small growing company, like a mid-sized startup or something, Everyone's got an operation they're trying to run. And it kind of doesn't matter what job title you have, you can still show up there and outsized value to that company. So Ken, that's just kind of the initial reaction is like, don't get pigeonholed on that one job or that one industry. We hear grads make that mistake, all and seniors especially, like they're just panicking about that.
Yeah, you're learning so many things and you're not realizing like sometimes it takes action to figure out what you really enjoy. And I got a great story. I had an employee of mine who she used to be a elementary school teacher. She had a degree in elementary school work and she's like, but the first few years of doing elementary, like, teaching kids was exhausting for her. And she's like, I thought I would enjoy that, but I found that it was dreadful for her and her personality. And I hired her for a different role when I worked at a university and she just thrived. And she's like, I love this. I didn't realize that I would love administrative work, financial aid type stuff. And she's like, I feel more better used in my skill sets doing this. Now, there were skills in her degree that were vastly transferable and were huge for her. So that's what I think would be something that people need to recognize is that their degree is not something that just, oh my gosh, it's all gone to waste. It's like there are a lot of transferable skills and a lot of learnings that can be taken and used in their new job, whatever that job may be.
Yeah. And quite frankly, some companies, they want somebody that's coming into their industry with fresh eyes and even into a role that's going to ask questions that are not necessarily going to follow the cookie cutter playbook that maybe a business school taught you. So even if you're in school and you're like, yeah, but this is how we think about marketing. Yeah. But if you came from like, for a great example of this is like in the AI industry, a lot of people are like, oh, we don't want tech people to lead prompt engineering. We actually want people that are linguists and we want poets and English majors, people that can use a wider vocabulary and can bring a cross-functional skill set because we think we're going to get better prompting with people that are better with words. So that's ironically, it's not the tech people that are good. They're good with code, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can even say a salesperson might be better with their words, but what they found was like, actually this different skill set is what we want. And obviously that's an example just within AI. But I mean, we have even an example in the Bible of this happening. I think about the story of Joseph, right? That's a great example. I don't know if you want to, punch through that or if you want me to go down that path. But like, we just like to think about an example, like where has God already done this in the past to give me hope for today?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of places in scripture that, God calls people and you think it's going to be a fast track, but it's not. It's like all over the place. Joseph is a great one, right? He has a dream and he tells his brothers like, hey, I'm going to be ruling over you. And all his 12 brothers hated him. They were jealous of him and they sold him off to slavery. That's the short version of it, right? And he goes from being this shepherd person to all of a sudden a slave, then to a prisoner. And then from being a prisoner for so many years, he all of a sudden becomes ruler. And he finally hits that, like, this is what I'm called to be doing. This is my career, quote unquote. And he's second in command. But that happens to Abraham in scripture. That happens to Moses. That happens to David, right? You think about David when he was anointed to be king. I think there was like 17 years later before it actually happened.
Yeah.
So many times we think that it's like, oh, I have this urge and this calling that it's going to happen right away. And it might take some time.
Totally. And so I think the encouragement here, and if you're still in college, or maybe you also like, hey, I'm a year or two out, and we also have this conversation a lot. You get in your first job and you're like, shoot, I hate this industry, or I hate this job, right? And maybe you studied, maybe like that was what you majored in. You're like, I thought marketing was going to be great, and I got in here and it was way more technical than I realized. I actually think I should probably be in customers, services or support or sales or something. You'll find stuff out about yourself that you don't quite know yet. So the encouragement to you is right now is put yourself in environments where you can do as much self-learning as you can to find out the what do I really want to spend some time doing? And then realize that the chances of you actually being in a very specific job, yes, you might be one of the 50% that you grab a certain job in your role. But can I also speak, Ken, to the lie that, let's say you're all friends with marketing major and two or three of your friends got jobs at XYZ, Fortune 500 big company, this marketing track that they're on.
The comparison.
Oh my goodness, it's crippling, right? And how dare us shake our fists at God and be like, God, unless I get into this specific company in this field on this track, unless I'm there, then you're not good, or you're not going to provide for me, right? Or man, now I'm at this other industry, or I'm at this nonprofit, or I'm at this government job, or I'm at this random other domain I didn't really care about. Like, let's be careful about putting God and the first step in your career into a box as if you're the one that is like Lord of your life. Because if you're CEO of your life and you're the Lord of your life, then it's kind of a scary. You're gonna kind of set yourself up for letdown more often than you'd like.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember for the first 4 or 5 years of my career, I was making pennies. Like penny. I think my highest at one point at a nonprofit, I was making like 23,000 for the year, annual. Right.
Yeah.
But I felt like God wanted me there. There was a certain reason, there was a certain purpose and things that I was working to. And so many times people could be like, oh, well, are you like forsaking all your other dreams and aspirations? And I was like, no, there's a reason why God's called me here. There's certain skill sets that I'm learning at that given season. I kid you not. Like I remember I undergrads in biblical studies, and I thought I'm going to be a pastor right after my undergrad. And then I felt like God was like, no, I want you to learn business skill sets. And I'm like, what? Why would I need that? I mean, fast forward 15 years now, and it's like I've helped so many companies just grow because of my ability to bring both a pastoral heart and also like KPIs and strategic organizational development into a company.
Yeah.
And that's very rare. But I would have never known that, if I didn't just say, Lord, what's the next thing that you want me to do? So for those of you who are listening to this, man, just take the next step. We know it's scary. We know it's hard to find a job. Even for seasoned people, it's hard to find a job.
Yeah.
Right. But like, just say, what are the skill sets? What are the things that you feel like you need to learn to level up and get to the next place? Patrick, any final words before we wrap up?
Well, I was just going to say, that's right. We want to leave you. We're going to keep talking about this topic of building out what you're good at, your skill sets. And I think probably the number one thing I'm hearing from employers right now is I don't want another 22-year-old with 3 flowery recommendation letters and 0 practical skills and experience. And you might be like, but Patrick, like I'm trying to get a full-time student, and maybe I'm working on campus doing this thing. Our challenge to you is, what does it look like to build your skill set, a portfolio of little projects? I'm not saying have 15 jobs, but you might need to do some stuff to demonstrate that you can deliver value. And so we're going to keep talking about that on this show. So keep coming back. We're also going to do some fun exercises and experiments. We're about to release something we're going to drop in one of these next episodes. So come on back, keep listening. We're going to share some more about how to help you build out your portfolio. But yeah, there are some practical things, but man, let's walk in faith and let's believe in a big God, not just what the world's lies are that, it all has to line up perfectly. So that's what I got for today. That's good.
Awesome. Patrick, thank you so much, man. That's always gold. And it's a great refresher for me too, even every season of life. Trust God in the next steps.
That's good.
If you guys are listening to this and you're like, I have a friend who could really use the encouragement here, make sure to share this. Subscribe to the channel, share this with a friend, because this is not just for you, for all the people who need it and are looking for a job and just reminding themselves to trust God in every aspect of their life. You guys have a great day and God bless.